Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store and online. And now all mattresses are on sale, plus free home delivery during our Cyber Week sale. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Snow's Seafood and Steak on Airline Highway at 74 in Gonzales. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Randy McKay with us in the first hour. Scott Rabelais with us in the second hour. Also, Wes Reynolds with us in the second hour today. Glad that you are with us today. The beginning of the national signing period.
Bash is lightly attended today.
If this were, hey, you never know, man. They changed the calendar. Maybe the Bash will make a comeback, right?
Oh, if you give the Bash a chance, I think that it will. So
you move the signing date to back to February, or even into August. Could you imagine a Bash in August if they did it to before the season? I don't know.
That's impossible.
The signing date's not impossible.
I heard some coaches being interviewed today on signing date, and and saying why they like the current signing day.
Okay, what was the reasoning? I take it these were coaches that haven't changed jobs, right?
Well, of course.
Yeah. If you are a coach that is not in a job change and not in a championship game and not in the playoff, well, this works fine. Okay, but if you are a coach that is changing jobs, you're squeezed. If you're a coach that's in a championship game this weekend, you're squeezed. I mean, imagine being, Ryan Day or, Kirk Signetti today, or any of the coaches that are in a championship game this weekend. There's a lot to do. If you are in the playoff, there's a lot to do, and you would rather it not be there. But if you're going to the Music City Bowl and you're keeping your job, today works just fine.
Yep.
But what percentage of coaches aren't either in the playoff or changing jobs? It's probably close to 50-50, right?
Coaching in
you're going to have 12 teams in the playoffs, so that's 12 coaches there. You've got 6 championship games this weekend?
Yeah, but some of those overlap.
It's
7.
You changing 6 coaching jobs just in the Southeastern Conference?
No, there's 9. I'm sorry, 9.
9
conference championship games.
Okay.
I mean, but some are like Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State. But they're playing.
Yes, they're still playing. You turned over 6 coaches just in the Southeastern Conference, and if you take that nationwide, I think the number's 20-something. So maybe not 50%. That might be a bit high, but
it's high.
A lot.
136
of. Even if it's 35 coaches,
just say a third.
Okay,
just say a third.
That's a lot of teams that
don't fire your coach.
Yeah, right. Just win and don't fire your coach, and don't make the playoff either, and don't make your championship game, and then this works. Just
Joe
fine.
Dean
finished 4th. Okay.
Yes.
Now, see, Joe Dean, if he were still with us, would have to amend it because that was a 10-team conference. Now you got to finish 7th.
What do you think they like?
I don't know that there's a consensus. You hear a lot about a national signing date that happens before the season. I think that comes with its own set of pitfalls because if you are a high school rising senior and you sign in August of going into your senior year, and let's say you signed with LSU this year, okay?
Signed in August.
if you had an early signing day. You're asking me what they want of the change in the calendar. Some coaches want a signing day.
What they like about this current system.
What they like
this
about
current calendar.
They like that their rosters are set going into the spring semester. You don't have to wait into the second month. You can get your kids enrolled early. You can get them into spring practice. You don't have to worry about a late sign-in portal. If your kid, essentially your roster is done by the end of January. That was the upside. Of this.
The high school kids, and they want to. It's not like Louisiana everywhere where they can get NIL deals. They want to get the payroll started as soon as possible, and they want to get the NIL opportunities as soon as possible, and get those going. And it also clarifies exactly what you need in the portal to supplement your class on what you signed today.
That was the intent of all this, okay? The unintended consequences are that you have to juggle national signing date along with postseason football and or coaching change. Somebody put it like this: if this was the NFL, this would be like having the Super Bowl, the draft, and the start of free agency all in the same week or all in the same 3-week period.
So when's the portal start?
January 2nd. Which is also if you win your first playoff game, or if you're into the deeper part of the playoffs. So that's only going to affect 4 teams.
Of course, they get this out the way, and it gives it the space, between December 3rd and January 2nd. So, which has obviously produced a lot of positive results, and that is so they can study for their finals.
That was the number one thing. Yeah. But the surprising thing to me is that some of the pushes for the calendar change are pushing for an even earlier signing day, which is before the season. And the argument is, well, you get all that done, they can go through their senior season without having to worry about all this. And this is what basketball does. This is what the spring sports do. They have an early signing period. I think that comes with its own set of pitfalls. Mostly that, let's say you signed with LSU or Clemson right before that game, okay? Well, you sign with LSU, and you're signing with a top 5 team or a top 10 team at the time coming out of that or going into that game. Well, they seem pretty stable, right? Coach is a veteran, got this monster contract. He ain't going anywhere. I mean, think about how you were thinking in August. He ain't going anywhere. He's definitely going to be there in December, even if they have a bad season. And, look, they're in the top 5. They could be competing for a championship. I'll sign there. Well, in December, before that really, the coach is gone. The season's gone up in smoke. And not only the school you sign with, but maybe 2 or 3 other schools that you were thinking about signing with have changed coaches. Yeah. What if you were trying to decide between LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida? No pun intended. What if you're a player trying to decide between those 3 schools?
So how's this class going to shape up?
So right now, obviously over the last 24 hours, a lot has happened. But I can tell you that already signed with LSU 9 players this morning, including.
What do they expect to sign? Who knows, huh?
Yeah, that changed a lot in the last. I can tell you that the ones that they didn't have committed include Braden Allen, who the wide receiver from Lafayette Christian, who was committed to Oklahoma up until just a few days ago, was there on Sunday night when Kiffin got there. They flipped him. J.C. Anderson, who's a tight end from Decatur, Illinois, who was an Ole Miss commitment, has flipped here. Was an Ole Miss recruit, okay, I should say. Corey Barber, who's a 4-star wide receiver from Pinson, Alabama, was an Ole Miss commitment. LSU flipped him. Ryan Merritt, a lineman out of Miami, was a player that they have added of late. And then some of the players that they thought would sign, I guess of the ones that they thought they would sign that are in, Aiden Hall, a 4-star out of Carr, is the most prominent this morning. And the reason for that is over the last 24 hours, you had some things happen. Most notably, Blake Baker interviewed for the Tulane job. And if Blake Baker ends up taking the Tulane job,
he's been offered the job.
Our information is he is going to be offered the job. And
he's going to be offered.
Yes,
the job.
And if he takes that job, and it's not a slam dunk. LSU's made him a very serious counteroffer. if he takes that job, there's going to be some staffers probably that go with him, most likely, Kevin Peoples and Jake Olson. Now, the defensive players that are in this class right now would like to know what the defensive staff looks like, and right this second, that's not a sure thing. Kiffin can't tell them that. So Lamar Brown, the number one player in the country, is holding tight. So is Richard Anderson, who is a defensive lineman from Carr. So is Deuce Geralds, who from Swanee, Georgia, the defensive lineman, who has said he is going to make his announcement. I got to get the time on that, but he's put it off. So there's several of these guys, and I don't think it's unreasonable for them to say, hey, we'd like to know who our position coach is going to be and who our coordinator is going to be. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. If they were leaving and signing with somebody else, that would be a much bigger deal. Them saying, well, hang on, we'd like a little bit more clarity with that. Okay, and that's with the entire staff. That's with Frank Wilson as well. Frank has been the interim head coach. He's put these classes together, and right now, whether Frank's going to be on staff next year or not is not a certainty.
There's a lot of uncertainty with Frank Wilson, and again, I got to be consistent and remind people that, and remind myself, because I just thought that Frank would have been a natural link, but there appears to be some friction between those two. In previous recruiting efforts, whatever it is. But I don't think the Lamar Brown is as much. I'm pretty damn sure it's not as much on Blake Baker's future, but it's the guy that has spent the most time with the family. And when any question comes up or anything happens, Frank is the first one that Lamar Brown or his mother call. And they're a little surprised that Frank is probably not going to be a part of this staff moving forward. And that has kind of jarred them a little bit. I talked to the people down at Carr. They didn't even know anything about the possibility of Frank not being retained. They know that Frank's a boy. He's an Edna Carr Cougar. He's an Old Perry Walker Charger. He's a St. Aug Purple Knight. He's got all the entire city of New Orleans covered. And I do know that the defensive lineman went on a good visit to Austin, Texas, over the weekend. And how is it going to shake out? I think things will settle down with Lamar Brown, but trust me, nobody. Probably Frank has spent more time with that family than the rest of the staff combined. And with Brian Kelly's staff, and it's kind of, with the staff change, kind of reminds me of this tandem at this unit. Reminds me a little bit of Will Campbell and Emory Jones. That they stayed firm,
right.
And they were kind of the cornerstone.
Right.
I mean, aren't these two the prize jewels of this staff, of this class?
Yes, absolutely.
So, I watched them back-to-back down in the Superdome earlier, and I watched other U-High games earlier too, the first Madison Prep game. But they're so, and I've said this before, they're so highly recruited, but they're so different. And they would just complement each other. I was just kind of fired up about that. And I would bet against that both of these guys are going to end up at LSU.
Well,
I think one will, but I just kind of, this is people in Algiers were a little surprised to hear that there's a chance that Frank won't be a part of the staff moving forward. Again, the entire staff is fired when it happens. There's no retaining. There's no retention. And wasn't it sort of a theme? Did you catch that too, Charlie? And on the introductory press conference, Verge said when he really lit up, because there's a lot of, do you really believe Lane Kiffin when he tells you he didn't know any of the monetary details of this whole thing?
Absolutely not.
How's he going to tell his assistant? But he knew all his assistants' the details and have convinced them of it.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
So, but the thing that I really believe, Verge told me and he kind of lit up, and when he felt natural, he said, "Here's the support. Go coach the team." Not getting in your way. Not telling you. No, not telling you. Say, oh, no, might be a good idea to retain this guy or do this. So you get what you get.
That's right. You're always,
and you can't tell a guy of Lane Kiffin because he had his choices. You can't tell a guy like that who to do. I think it's a misstep, though, if he does not keep Frank Wilson.
Carr has
Carr going to have more players, too. Trust me.
Carr has 15 players set to sign letters today. There is a banquet set up. The pictures have been posted on X. 15 players.
Well, Anderson's not, right?
He has a spot at the table. Whether he signs or something.
He's not expected to sign. He's not expected. Lamar Brown's not expected to sign today.
Lamar Brown is not going to sign today.
I don't think,
and I don't think Anderson will either. But I'm just telling you the news.
I've spoken to him.
There's a banquet set up, and he's got a spot at the table. Does he take it or not? I'm with you. I think probably he's going to see how.
You were at my
some of this
dad's
stuff shakes
funeral.
out.
There were droves of people from the Carr family.
Absolutely,
droves.
Absolutely.
And Frank is just one of them, one of us.
I understand his links.
And he was
very,
there
very
as
clearly.
well.
Yes,
yes,
he was.
He is family. So I'm biased. But I just know that I know this, Charlie. Those families, including the Brown family, they trust Frank. And he has a way of creating relationships. And we talk about it. With the money, how valuable are the Frank Wilsons, the Bebe Orgerons, and whoever, Corey Raymonds?
Still valuable, but less than they used to be.
And I'll tell you this, Frank is the lead guy with this, with Lamar Brown. And people will speculate, well, he's just trying to drop the price up. And well, that's natural reaction. He's got more offered elsewhere. He's accepting less, and we reported that. So they just got to get in the ballpark to try at least be competitive. He's got more money elsewhere today that he can go to. But there's a relationship that was built, and that's just Frank did a lot of work on Lamar Brown, a lot of work on Anderson.
I don't doubt either one of those things. Another story that is circulating around right now involves a quarterback from Alabama named Landon Duckworth, who was expected to sign with South Carolina this morning. He is the number 10 quarterback in the nation, number 144 overall, and he was somebody who was recruited very heavily by Lane Kiffin and his staff in Oxford. In fact, there are people that believe he came very close to committing to Kiffin and them in Oxford, but like the depth chart, the way it looked a little bit better at South Carolina. Well, he didn't sign this morning, and there's at least a little bit of momentum to say that LSU's making a push here. If he was concerned
He's
that
an Ole Miss commitment?
He was not. He was a South Carolina commitment.
Oh, okay.
He was recruited very heavily by Ole Miss, but the depth chart there is crowded. They signed a very highly recruited player last year. Of course, Chambliss could go back next year, and so he opted for South Carolina when I'm sure he thought at the time Lenore Sellers was going to go pro. Well, now LSU is making a push on him. If he didn't like the depth chart at Ole Miss, he ought to like the one plenty here because they are short of quarterbacks. So we'll see. If that would be a big get for Kiffin and staff if they were able to pull a top 10 quarterback in essentially 48 hours. So we'll keep an eye on that the rest of the day.
How many of Ole Miss commitments are going to flip to LSU? I know a couple have.
We've got a couple have already. Shea keeps telling us that there's some other flips that he's expecting today. So
I would think so.
Yeah. And we'll see how many they end up.
The coach leaves, he brings some players, whether it's current or commitments.
I was expecting and still am a lot of kids today to say, let me pump the higher rated kids. Maybe I want to pump the brakes a little bit today. 6 jobs in the Southeastern Conference turned over since Sunday. Okay, I mean that's a lot of head coaches. That's a lot of assistant coaches. That's a lot of uncertainty, and especially for these kids that have been committed for a long time to say, okay, boom, now here's a new guy, meet him and repledge, or maybe your guy ends up somewhere else. I would think that there'd be a lot of that today, a lot of change today because there was a lot of change over the weekend.
Well, you could be like Penn State, who fired their coach first, still hasn't hired anybody, and they are actually their recruiting class isn't stacking up to be a great one.
They have 4 commitments. Kalani Sitake signed an extension yesterday with BYU.
As expected.
And this morning, Brian Hartline took the South Florida job, which is a real get for them. I think that guy's got a ton of potential. The troll of the day, though, belongs to Virginia Tech, who posted one picture from their offices this morning on National Signing Day. It was a box of crumble cookies. I thought that was funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
I thought that was funny. Yeah, just a little, because, Franklin took a couple of guys off that list.
Some of the griping out of Happy Valley are saying that Sexton, and with the negotiations with Franklin, there's some bad blood there. So he may be shutting out some of their. I don't know why he would shut down one of his. That's a great job. I mean, it's a top 15 easily.
Yeah.
Exactly where in there, we could debate, but
they were in the semifinals last year at this time. For those that don't get the crumble cookie joke, that's the
guy that stepped up for BYU.
Yes, yeah. If you're a little bit behind on that.
Utah State alum, but BYU supporter. That's all.
Okay, it's fine, no problem.
Okay. Church stepped up too.
Yeah.
But Sitake doesn't he seem like more of a fit? The Polynesian
He played at
pipeline.
BYU, yeah. He played at BYU.
Go from Provo to Happy Valley, really?
I think every job he's had has been west of the Mississippi, and he went to BYU. He's a better fit there.
They may go down as far. Be careful what you wish for. They're going to have a hard time getting a coach as good as James Franklin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Lunch specials. We used to do rotating specials over here at Snow's, daily lunch specials. But what we do now is we've got weekly, we do the lunch specials that are available Tuesday through Friday. Honey walnut shrimp, tempura battered shrimp, fried crisp, and tossed in a velvety honey walnut glaze served alongside vegetable fried rice. Cedar plank chicken, roasted chicken breasts over cedar plank in the oven, topped with basil, pesto, fresh tomatoes, milk, mozzarella, and drizzled with a rich balsamic reduction, served with fresh green beans. Black pepper beef, tender beef tenderloin sauteed with onions and peppers in a rich Asian soy glaze over steamed rice. Baked bolognese, rigatoni, tossed in a tangy Italian bolognese sauce, topped with a 4-cheese blend of mozzarella, romano, parmigiana, and cream sauce. Then baked to golden finish, served with a garlic bread. And our sandwich got an ultimate sourdough patty melt. Signature steak blend hamburger patty, grilled and served over a toasted sourdough, cheddar, smoked Gouda, bacon, grilled onions, chipotle, aioli, served with French fries and two different salads. A grilled shrimp spinach salad, and a grilled chicken Greek salad. That's in addition, Charlie, to our regular lunch menu that has over 50 items with it. Wow, you got plenty of options over here at Snow's.
Live at Snow's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. Brought to you by Supreme Rice, supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. Go to SupremeRice.com. Yeah, certain things stick with you. I don't know why I found this so funny. Back when Dan Patrick was doing SportsCenter in the LSU coaching search in 1994, he did a lead-in to a story about John Cooper getting a raise at Ohio State. And he says, what does every coach in the world want to see right now? Joe Dean at your doorstep, because it means you're getting a raise wherever you are. Brent Key got a raise at Georgia Tech this morning, a new 5-year deal through 2030.
Sitake turned it down, yeah. I did turn it out. He's the only guy that didn't sign his deal, Charlie.
Yeah. It's like the Penn State job is, as long as it's out there, just if your agent doesn't throw your name out there for that job right now just to shake up your administration, I mean, if you're on solid footing, you're not doing your job, because that job out there, it's amazing to me that they fired that guy when they did and did not have a plan ready to go. We gave Verge credit for how would say, landing the plane, okay? Knew what they wanted, went out and got it. Maybe it was a little rocky in the transition.
Verge could offer his services for consulting right now for Penn State.
Yes. To get to signing date, to have recruits jumping out the door, going in some cases going with your old coach to Virginia Tech, and then to watch all of these other – I mean, yesterday was a hell of a time to make your pitch to Satake if that was your guy. You weren't on that 2 weeks ago? I mean, I realized BYU's 11-1, but LSU just went and got a coach that was 11-1. Penn State's supposed to be a pretty big job. It is a big job.
Go promote an old coordinator. Wasn't Joe Moorhead a coordinator there?
Yes, he was when he left for Mississippi State.
Guess what? He's got a higher rated Santa class at Akron than Penn State does today. It's early, but still.
And you still got the portal, I guess. Brian Daboll starting to look better to them?
Yeah, and I mean, you got to. I mean, is he going to?
I'm running out of college names.
so you can talk to the assistants. You can't talk to the head coaches before the NFL season's over.
Well, Daboll's fired, so they can talk to him whenever they want.
Oh, I'm still thinking. My goodness. No. Wow. Well, Brady is who I'm thinking of.
Brady's still coaching
with the Bills.
Yeah.
No, that's what.
Yeah, the NFL
that's,
coaches.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
of.
the NFL.
Who would you take, Daboll or Brady?
I'd probably take Daboll, and that's sight unseen. Joe Brady didn't want to recruit. He was adamant about it. I don't want to do it. So,
well, how do you know Daboll does? He spent an entire year.
I don't. I know the
right?
I know the other guy doesn't. So I'm going to take my chance that maybe
you.
this guy does. But
I got you.
I have no idea. I don't know what they are thinking up there, and I do wonder about the economics of it because they are in the middle of a $700 million upgrade. Now that's stadium, that's facilities, that's everything.
But they got $40 million found money.
I can't imagine that they couldn't go find money. I mean the coach is important, right?
The day they fired Franklin, they knew there was a chance they had to pay $49. Well, they're paying $9. That's done.
Yeah,
that was done how many weeks ago?
Oh, 3.
And they don't have. I mean, this is how not to do it. I mean,
to be last.
And look, LSU could be in a pickle. What if Auburn wins?
If Auburn wins, I think that LSU's
sitting waiting still. Man, that's Pat through signing day.
Watching that game the other night, I thought there was a chance. We'll never know that if Auburn won that game, that LSU would make an announcement either Sunday or Monday that Lane Kiffin was coming here, but that Ole Miss would have let him coach the championship game.
You've seen that. They weren't letting him coach.
They weren't letting him coach in the playoff, but they had 3 weeks to prepare for the playoffs. To switch all over that staff in one day.
Have you seen the reaction?
I have, Jimmy, but imagine, go back to Sunday morning. You wake up, you're Keith Carter, you wake up Sunday morning, you are playing a championship game for the first time in school history in 6 days. Not in 21 days like the playoff.
They've won a conference championship.
It is the conference championship game. Okay.
But the game, yeah.
You got to play this game in 6 days. I think they would have let him coach that. I could be wrong. I know they got the red ass up there, but 21 days is a lot different. You can plan for something in 21 days. They had 6 days to get ready for the championship game. I think they would have let him coach. Well, I can't swear to it.
My money's on the other side.
Okay. Well,
Look, I was wrong on that too. I was like, well, I mean, Ole Miss is so happy to go into the playoff. Of course, they're going to put the staff out there that gives them the best chance to win. Wrong. Yeah. Wrong-o. Maybe if, like you said, if you took USC or Penn State, but not LSU. All right. I didn't know they were higher than 4th on, their list too, as far as their biggest rivals. So, but anyway, no, my money's on the other side. The emotions affect rationale, Charlie.
They do.
Lane Kiffin coaching the playoff. And guess what? They got a break last night. Oh, yes, indeed. You want to play Virginia or North Texas or Tulane, or you want to play Notre Dame?
If it holds from last night.
Well, these are teams that aren't moving.
Well, they're not playing. Are they moving? They moved Miami last night. And they're within 2 of Notre Dame now, and it's almost like they're setting it up to where next week they could flip them.
No, I disagree.
You remember when they flipped TCU and Baylor, right?
Well, they played.
Well,
those teams played. Both of them played.
I get it. Yes, if that holds last night, they caught a break.
Playing.
They caught a break.
They moved. They corrected themselves, I think, on Alabama, and they wanted to, because Alabama's got better wins, but damn, Vanderbilt's get screwed.
Yeah, they got 10 wins, and they're not getting
They're 10-2 in the SEC, and they go to Tennessee and beat the tar out of them way worse than Georgia did in that same building, way worse than Oklahoma did in that same building. But they wanted to go losses like 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was losses, bad losses. Notre Dame's losses are better than Miami's. Well, Vanderbilt's losses at Texas and at Alabama, that's pretty damn good losses.
Diego Pavia sent a message to the president today. Hey, he can do anything
right
now, man.
Let's bring back the governor.
If anybody can get to the president and make him make a move, Diego Pavia, he can do anything, man.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of you real estate closings, 296-0060, a full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Our great team at Legacy Title, Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Natalie, and Bradford Smith, buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060. I do think Diego Pavia won the Heisman last night, though. I think a little bit of everybody. I think there's going to be a little compassion for that team not to be in the playoff. Just enough. No doubt. Well, plus, he deserves it. He has meant more to his team than Mendoza and Sayan, and that's not close.
I can't argue with
the stats are better.
I can't argue with Pavia's value there. I would say that if Mendoza goes out and throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns and Indiana wins on Saturday.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Well, okay. We're going to play the game, though. If he has a big game, he's the MVP of the game. That might be hard to overcome.
The winning quarterback's probably going to be the MVP. But I think it helps him. Really do.
If Diego Pavia wins the Heisman, I got no problem with that at all.
The criteria is broad, but we got to get a break.
They flipped a quarterback from Georgia. Live at Snow's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Uh-oh, they let the big dog out.
Boom! Out of nowhere.
It's time for the big dog, Randy McKay, with his best picks.
Big dog, how you doing, buddy? Where you at these days?
I'm doing pretty well. I did a little traveling here. I'm up in northern Nevada here, so enjoying a little snow today in northern Nevada. So a little different atmosphere up here.
Like a Cajun snow today. It's in the 50s down here, so it's that's plenty cold enough. I'm
chilling in
it got to mid 30s over the night over here, so we got some rain coming in. Boy, the high school games and Tulane. I mean, this Friday night is going to be very, very wet. It appears. Hey, I gotta ask you, are the Carolina Panthers any good?
Now they're a hard team to figure out, but they're definitely a good home team. We know that they've beaten some teams at home, and they actually went to Green Bay and got a big win too. But you talk about a head scratcher for a team, and you never know what you're going to get out of them. And you got a good running attack and a improving defense, and just see what we get out of Bryce Young. And I do like that McMillan as wide receiver. They did do a good job getting him.
Bryce Young, Charlie, two fourth quarter? I know 2 second half. 4th down touchdown passes to put them up. And you saw who stripped the ball to the Rams were driving. I think about the 35-40 in down one score.
Was it Dante Jackson?
Oh no. It was that big dog that Gojeron said after the Auburn games. I told you boys you're going to be first-round draft picks.
Brown.
Yes, yeah. Derek Brown. I mean,
he's a monster.
But they got him and Ashawn, what's his last name? Is Robinson from Alabama up front?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so, it's – they and I think Canales, there's no doubt Bryce Young is limited. But you see on both the throws, he throws that fade, that kind of that outside shoulder fade, kind of down the field a little bit. Both of them, they were just went to opposite ends of the field. They're both to the right side, outside shoulder, beautiful. I mean, just beautiful touch passes. He's kind of figuring out what he has in him, and I don't know. He gets some of the credit. How much with Baker Mayfield? But he looks like, is Bryce Young not improving under him? That's for sure.
He's getting better. Let me correct myself. I said Dante Jackson, who used to play. I haven't met Mike Jackson. The guy from Miami.
I know, but Dante from Riverdale who can run like the wind.
I just said Dante Jackson. That's my faux pas. My bad.
He did play there.
Yeah, that's what I said. He used to play there, but I was thinking about Mike Jackson, who's playing for him now.
Yeah. Is Dallas for real a big dog?
I believe they are. I mean, I really like how Schottenheimer's coaching this team. I don't know where he got this aggressiveness from, but his dad didn't have this. His dad used to run the ball a lot. And,
no, he didn't.
He's the exact opposite of what his dad is on as far as being aggressive. You know, he went forward, made some nice, play calls on passing, and cost us our total, unfortunately, on Thanksgiving. But I really like what we're seeing out of Dallas.
Maybe he was sitting there as a kid and said, if I ever get my chance, I'm not running a damn ball like that, my dad. So maybe he sat there for so many years and figured it out. First pick, Randy, this week is, speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, boy, what a Thursday night game. Charlie, much build-up as we've seen on a Thursday night game. These Thursday night games have risen in quality. There's no doubt. Al Michaels is even he's not bitching too much on the air, so
he's learning to get along Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, Herbie is so he goes with the flow. He really you can see the respect for Al Michaels that he has, and he's gotten better and better. With doing more and more pro games, he should. But he's a pro. But Michaels he's old, man. I mean, he's he is. He's a little crotchety, but he's been pleasant this year,
and he's still very, very sharp. He's always been my favorite announcer, and he's still very sharp, even over 80 now.
1984 is a long time ago.
1984.
Well, he's called the Miracle on Ice.
Well, that was 80.
Mm-hmm. I said 84.
But it was in 80. The Miracle on Ice.
Oh,
was
80.
In 80.
Oh, no. Randy. Lake Placid was in 1980. Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah. Look, I still think Dante Jackson's playing for the Panthers, man.
It's a retirement home live from Sunrise. So
Come on,
anyway,
man. Let's get going.
Speaking of that one, Detroit, and I'm worried about Detroit. It looks like two teams kind of going in opposite directions right now. Detroit, I'm wondering about them. Dallas is flourishing right now. Is that how you see this thing? Detroit laying 3 at home tomorrow night.
Yeah, I like 3 underdogs this week, and I think all 3 have a decent shot to win outright, and this is one of them. This Dallas team, playing very well off Thanksgiving win, the momentum and everything, and the defense adjustments here with Eberflus has made with the new acquisition with Williams. I don't think Detroit's going to have the success we're going to see with Gibbs and Montgomery that they've had against Dallas in the past. These two teams have built up a little rivalry with each other, and Detroit kind of ran it up on them last year with a lot of trick plays and stuff, and I think that'll stick pretty well with Dallas in this game as well. So, we'll see a decent effort out of here. Of course, I like what Schottenheimer's doing on offense, and this Detroit injury report is really concerning with their offensive line, and then they probably be without St. Brown as well. So, you got to look towards Dallas here as an underdog here, and they can't make it any lower.
All right, Dallas catching points in a row. Another dog catching points in a row. How about Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals? They go to Baltimore and win. Now they have another tough assignment here, going to Arch Park to take the Buffalo Bills. Bills favored here by 5.5, Randy.
Yeah, unfortunately knocked me out of Survivor there. More so, Baltimore knocked me out of the Survivor with all the stupid turnovers and fumbling the ball on the goal line and all that other crap last week. And it was not a very good turkey day for me, but that was frustrating. But we move on. A lot of energy back with the Cincinnati team getting Burrow back here. So, and also he has a very good record, lifetime versus Buffalo here. 4-0 and 4 straight outright wins. They got a shot here. To make some noise here in the NFC North here if they can. Much like they did last year, if they can keep winning. Also getting T. Higgins back here probably be a good help for them. This Buffalo team's still injured up on the offensive line. And also Joey Bosa might still be injured after implanting Aaron Rodgers about 6 feet under on that sack. So we'll see if he plays as well for the Buffalo defense.
All right, and Houston and Kansas City. Kansas City probably has to run the table. Now, of the 5 games, 2 of them are kind of layups. But the 3 of them are certainly challenging, and this is one of them, taking on the hot Texans, man. And they kind of showed it on Monday night. We knew we didn't know if it would sustain, but that defense is a hand to deal with. They're catching 3.5 at Arrowhead.
Yeah, 7-5 versus 6-6 here, and this Houston offense is improving here with Stroud. You get the number 1 defense going against the Kansas City offensive line that's banged up as well. So I like that matchup. This has a big amount as far as the playoffs are going to go, and I think playing all these games has caught up to KC over the years. They just played all these tough, close games, and it seems like this team has fatigue from that. And Houston's going to remember this playoff loss they had, and they should come in Arrowhead with confidence here, and I think they can also get the upright upset.
All right. You playing any FCS playoff games this weekend?
Yeah, one bonus pick here. I really like the Montana Grizzlies here at home in Missoula, Montana here, going against the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Not as strong as they have been in the past here, so I like Bobby Houck's team to win and cover here in the small, 1-point favorite at home.
Very good. Well, there'll be a little South Louisiana push on the Montana Grizz, so don't worry. We'll be tailing you on that one. Randy, thank you. Follow Randy on Twitter at RR39. Big Dog, we appreciate it, man. Maybe we'll talk to you on Sunday to get an update. Thank you, buddy.
Sounds good. Good luck, everybody out there.
Don't forget our friend. All right, don't forget our friends at Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, or shutters. Vinyl windows, storm impact windows, wood windows, doors, exterior doors, sliding glass doors, French doors, siding, vinyl siding, hardy plank siding, shutters, exterior, interior, all of our shutters. You check out all of our inventory at reliefwindows.com. I sure wish I called Relief Windows originally with the original construction of my home instead of changing my wood windows about 10 and 12 years in. They're built to last with the warranty that they can handle these extreme South Louisiana weather conditions. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com, 288-8138.
Live at Snows, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
9 players have signed with LSU today. Jabari Mack, the wide receiver from Destrehan. Bryson Martinez, the offensive lineman from East Ascension. Corey Barber, the wide receiver from Alabama, who was committed to Ole Miss, and they have flipped. Braden Allen, the wide receiver from Lafayette Christian, who was committed to Oklahoma. Zarian Ellis, the cornerback from Winsboro. Isaiah Washington, the safety from Haynesville. Aiden Hall, the safety from Carr. J.C. Anderson, the tight end from Decatur, Illinois, who was headed towards Ole Miss, and Ryan Merritt, an offensive lineman from Miami. 7 players are committed but have not signed yet with LSU. There have been no commitments from LSU that have flipped to anybody else and signed with anybody else today. Still a long way to go on the first day of the national signing period, the early signing period. We're at Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales. Scott Rabelais will join us, as well as Wes Reynolds in hour number 2. Live at Snow's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
On 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Enjoying the finer things in life is his forte. Let's bring in Scott Rabelais from The Advocate.
And as we return here at Snow Seafood and Steak, breaking just in the last 10 minutes or so, Richard Anderson, the big defensive lineman from Carr, has signed at the signing day ceremony. The Carr's got 15 guys that are signing today.
That's it?
And yeah, just 15. And now both of the ones that are coming to LSU have made it official. Aiden Hall, the safety, and now Richard Anderson, the big 5-star defensive lineman. Jimmy, you saw him play in a game in the Superdome earlier
Played a
this
little
year.
basketball too, and you could see that with his feet. But I mean, he's got his calves are tree trunks, man. I mean, he is just so thick and kind of nimble. Could use a little. I mean, this guy's that big, could use a little bit work on his leverage, but he sure seems he is a load to move. You just can't move him.
Yeah,
you can't move him, and he's just a little bit more agile for a guy that size.
6'3" and a half, 350 is what
350
he's listed
and can move okay. And it's not a sloppy 350. His body, his body's not perfect. Okay, but I mean, he's in high school.
Yeah.
He gets at LSU. I think he can. Both Brown will add some. He might streamline a little bit, but they would be a headache to deal with. This is also big because he did go to Austin this past weekend, and I talked to the people at Carr last night. And they said Texas threw it on him. I mean, he enjoyed himself in Austin. He had a very, very, very good visit and still signed here. So what we were talking about earlier, the uncertainty with Frank Wilson, that's I did not expect him to sign today, Charlie.
That's a big get for LSU. Big get for LSU. Deuce Gerald's has announced the signing. And Lamar Brown is
30 minutes
is waiting. Yeah,
we don't. As of earlier and last night, we didn't expect him to sign today, and he was letting people know he wasn't going to sign today. So we'll see. I've got some people over at U-High today. We'll let you know when that happens.
Scott Rabelais is in with us now. Scott, you were at the press conference. You've been at a lot of these introductory press conferences for Lane Kiffin. What were your big takeaways on Monday?
Well, first of all, I would say what a big get it is for LSU to sign Oscar Goldman for the $6 million man, Richard Anderson. Nothing? Nothing?
I get it. Yeah, I got it. We got a little bit.
That was big. It was big.
Go ahead. Yeah, I got it.
You're like, where does Rabelais going? You don't know. I understand. I'm sorry. I just couldn't help myself. Big impressions and things. Lane's a little, for all his social media stuff, I think only part of his personality comes out that way. I think in person, he's kind of an introvert. He strikes me as. It took him a while to warm up. He's and you could clearly understand that he was conflicted about the decision. But as it went on, obviously started telling these great stories about driving past Tiger Stadium and channeling his inner Ed Orgeron and of course, the stories that he told about himself, having 6 head coaching jobs now, and you learn from your mistakes and your experience, and the story about it's funny, and it's funny. One of the biggest things that stuck out to me is that Pete Carroll, who became a public enemy among LSU fans, in the early 2000s because they split the national championship with LSU in 2003. Is the guy who I think was one of the biggest influences. Lane said he spoke to him the way he thought his dad, Monty Kiffin, would have spoken to him and said, "Take your shot." And I thought that was really telling because he didn't really tell us what Nick Saban said to him. But those were some of my biggest impressions. But he's also really tall. He's got big hands. You can see why he played quarterback in college.
Well, and his son standing next to him in that picture also has a bright future at quarterback. It is interesting, Scott, 3 figures that LSU fans have considered arch enemies at different points in their careers. Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, Jimmy Sexton, all outside of his family. were the biggest influences on who would influence, and is
I mean,
at
did
yes, and left and constantly.
I told Nick when he was contemplating taking Huizenga's offer and said, Nick, you do realize I've got clients who can really coach or they can really recruit, but you're the only one that could do both really well. Are you sure? He did.
And I don't know what Sexton team exactly for the Dolphins. The perception of Jimmy Sexton trying to poke for more money.
Everybody.
That's and that was 20 years. He does his job very well. It just doesn't enamor him to the fans here. Scott, what's Lane Kiffin's biggest challenge to get LSU to a championship level? What is the biggest unknown for you? We know he can call plays. What's the biggest unknown for you?
How quickly he can build a roster. I think eventually I think eventually he can, and obviously signing date, sort of the signing period is a big part of that. But the first schedule out of the chute is challenging. I mean, you got to go back to Ole Miss, you got to go back to Tennessee, two places where he is despised. Obviously, home schedule with Clemson and Alabama and Texas A&M on it. It's a big challenge right out of the gate, and it can the mandate is to try to be a playoff contender every year, and then every year includes 2026. I think you'll get the offensive players through signing day or the portal or whatever that he needs, and obviously he can take a quarterback and develop him. Who knows who's going to take that first snap for LSU behind center next year? But I think defense. It's from do they keep Blake Baker or not? Do they keep other coaches on staff? Do they replace? You got to replace lots of key starters. I think that's the biggest key because obviously we've seen. I think they'll have a very good offense at LSU. They'll populate it some way and become very good. But obviously, we've seen just 2 years ago what a very good offense looks like when dragged down by the anchor of a very bad defense. So I think the defensive side, finding the people he can trust, because I don't think he's very probably hands on. He's an offensive guy with the defense. I think solidifying the staff and then finding the players again that they need is the biggest challenge to being a contender next year. I think LSU will be a kingmaker, not a king in 2026 right now, but we'll see.
For me, I have no doubt about his ability to build a roster in this climate. I have no questions about his ability to build a staff. I have no questions about his ability to develop a quarterback. I have no questions about his ability to call plays. And I think he'll probably put together a defensive staff, whether it's Blake Baker or if he ends up at Tulane, whoever he brings in for him. My biggest question is, and I'm going to go back to this quote. I've done it a bunch of times with Jerry DiNardo. He said, look, I can get you from where you are to 10 wins. I can get you from 4 wins to 10 wins. But going from 10 to 12 is the tough part. For Lane Kiffin, for me, it's that big game play, okay?
Oklahoma.
The Oklahoma game. Why are you putting Simmons in the game? Florida last year, you turned the ball over 3 times. Kentucky last year, which should have been a layup the last drive of the game, you come up short. Georgia, you're right there for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden your offense goes completely dormant. It's the key parts of those key games. I have no doubt that Lane Kiffin's going to have LSU in the playoffs. None. It may not be next year, but I have no doubt that he'll get them in the playoffs. But at some point, they're going to get into close quarters with a team that's just as good as them, and that's when you got to win a championship. And that'll be my big question. I think that he'll evolve as a coach, and the next time he's in those situations, he'll be better. But that's my biggest question mark is in those really, really big games, the games he's being paid the dollars to win. He's not being paid to get them to 10 wins. He's being paid to get them to a championship, and that would be my question with him.
And that's fair, and because obviously last year was supposed to be their year, and they lost the team of Kentucky last year, and they kept them out of the playoff. They still didn't end up winning 10 games, but as you said, that's nice. It's like I remember Nebraska, y'all, when back in the 70s and 80s, they won at least 9 games every year, and of course some years they jumped up and they were national contenders. But every game now it's 10. Is the floor for the power conferences. But he also took this year's team that no one, including Lane Kiffin, I don't believe, to 11 wins and a comfort, not only a berth in the playoffs, but they're going to host a first round playoff game. That's pretty impressive too. And a quarterback. Now, did they luck into Trinidad Chambliss? I mean, could they have had no one to go to when Austin Simmons got hurt? Yeah. You could say that. But they also developed him too into a player that you're like, ooh, you would mind having him at LSU next year. He got another year of eligibility. So I'm with you, Charlie. I understand. And every coach you get has games where you point to and say, they kind of blew that one, or this wasn't the best decision, or something like that. Even Nick Saban. But I think you could argue that this year was his best coaching job. So that's maybe a coach on the evolutionary scale who is improving.
College football playoff, what did you make of the standings last night as we go into championship week? There are going to be some disappointed people. It's just a matter of who. What did you make of the second to last, or I guess the last before the actual bracket itself comes out?
The penultimate rankings, yes. Notre Dame dropping a spot, as y'all said, within the Miami's clutches. I think obviously Ohio State, Indiana, those teams both in. Do both those teams get a bye? I think so. Georgia's in. Texas Tech, BYU. Obviously, Texas Tech handled them in Lubbock, but rematches are tough to win, and so can BYU get the job done there? And that then makes, I think, the Big 12 a two-bid league as compared to just their champion getting in. So that's pretty big. And then is Alabama? This is the question I have going into the SEC championship game: is Alabama safe if they lose? If they lose like by 3 touchdowns to Georgia, which I don't think will happen, they're out. But if they lose, 21-17 or something like that, are they out with 3 losses, or do they become the first 3-loss team to get into to the playoffs? So that's very interesting to me. Vanderbilt and Texas, I don't think they got any shot. Is there some Vanderbilt bias? Is there bias against the Vanderbilt logo? I have to believe there is. We all bring biases to any situation, and I'm like y'all. I think they've done a lot to merit consideration, but I don't think they're getting in. And Texas has no argument because they're even though they're sitting right there at 13, and they might end up at 12 when it's all said and done. They lost to Florida, 4-8 Florida team. They've got no complaints. They wouldn't play Ohio State, but on the road. But you lost to a bad Florida team, and you've got no excuses. And so that's the way it is. But I'm really intrigued by the Big 12 matchup with Texas Tech and BYU, and what happens to Alabama if they lose to Georgia.
All the crumble cookies you can eat if BYU comes out as the winner. Scott, we appreciate it. As always, we'll talk to you next week, buddy. Thanks a lot.
All right, guys. Take care. Thank you.
All right, Charlie, here you go. You want to talk about what he did in the big games, okay? Oklahoma putting Simmons in the game instead of no excuse for that. Yeah. That was just poor game management. You went into the game thinking that you would need something out of Simmons for some reason, and because he forced him in there, and really kept Oklahoma more in the game than they should have been. Chambliss is much more, and Chambliss was on his way to putting over 500 yards. We know about Venables' defense. It was unnecessary what you had there. Georgia finally went man. Okay, for some reason Kirby is a little reluctant to do this. We saw this in the Rose Bowl against Oklahoma when they were gashing him. Anderson was the big running back that year with Baker Mayfield for Oklahoma, and they were just gashing him. And then they went man, and then all of a sudden they had more people to stop their running game, and it went from 5 straight possessions to touchdowns to 3 and out, 4 and out. That was it. I mean, it was, for some reason, Kirby's reluctant, but that was a factor in that game. Last year, your team was not disciplined enough. They didn't have the respect for their opponent, and 3 first-half penalties after third down stops on defense took 3 possessions away from you in that game. And also, Kentucky. Yeah. You kept them in the game, and then Kentucky made 1 play.
Yeah.
They made that 1 play to get the long pass to put them in, so you kept them hanging around. Immaturity, maybe, and then Ole Miss handling expectations, thinking it. No, you still got to respect your opponent. Only win for Kentucky. Florida was both. Florida was both on him. The defensive lineman on fourth down in the backfield 4 times. You ran the same play, fourth down. He had four fourth down attempts. He made 2 of them, got stopped 2. The same play every time. Just a little, wait, what are we doing here? But Jackson Dart, who played so well for 3 quarters, threw 2 fourth-quarter interceptions. A lot on Dart. How can he that's not on Kiffin.
Right.
That's not on Kiffin. And then the other thing with the LSU, we all know that, but Tiger Stadium was pretty popping that night, okay? And didn't Nussmeier and LSU make some plays?
Oh, the fourth down pass to Aaron Anderson was probably the best ball.
And then Dart missed a guy wide open one time. The best receiver dropped a touchdown one time, and then he got hurt.
They lost Trey Harris. They
got hurt.
Game.
So there's some circumstance. I can't kill you for losing when your quarterback at LSU going to make some plays with that crowd.
And I didn't mean to insinuate that it was all his fault.
No, that's why I'm breaking it down.
Yeah.
Am I giving him some of the fault?
No, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Am I not saying some things happened in the game, including with your opponent? And the other thing you look at Dart, why are they better this year? Because their roster's not as good. But one position's better. And Dart's on his way. He's played 2 good games with the Giants, okay? We're ready to give him the rookie. He looks like he's going to be good. Dude better take care of himself. But Dart in 3 seasons at Ole Miss, 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Chambliss, 6-to-1. That's a big difference.
No, it's a huge
difference.
That's
a big difference.
He was such a find. Nobody recruited that kid. They found him.
And he wasn't going to play him.
No, he didn't.
But he gets credit for finding him because Simmons got hurt.
He obviously didn't wow him in August, or there would have been a quarterback competition. They literally found him from out of nowhere. Sorry, Ferris.
Well, he found him.
He found him. Yeah,
they
get credit.
I think he was on his way to an ACC school. And they redirected him.
They were scrolling through. They were looking for another.
No. But he was on. He was about to go.
Oh, he was going to sign with somebody else.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He wasn't staying at Ferris State.
He won't have any problem finding suitors this year if he.
But you had to get. He was not bringing him in as a starter.
No.
Obviously.
No.
Obviously. So, anyway, don't forget our friends at Go Chevrolet. Go Chevrolet in LaPlace and Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine. My buddies Lee Carney and Nick Richard, man, do a great job at Go Chevrolet. I don't just talk about the great vehicles for the Go Automotive team of dealerships. I drive a Chevy Tahoe from Go Chevrolet. Got with Lee and got on the website and special ordered my vehicle and got exactly the color, the interior, the design. Whether you want the seat warmers or not, you want the seat warmers, seat coolers, rear video, the camera in the front, whatever you want. Exactly. You want a sunroof? You don't want a sunroof? You get exactly what you want when you call Lee or Nick and set it up where you can go to the website and kind of self-order exactly, almost customize a vehicle and get exactly what you want. If you don't have the exactly what you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, well, we will use our resources, our nationwide resources, to find you exactly what you're looking for. Go by and check out my friends Go Chevrolet and Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in LaPlace and Plaquemine. Again, mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for special VIP pricing.
Live at Snow's Seafood and Steak in Gonzales, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow's Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. From east, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN.
Wes, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, Jimmy. About to head to Indianapolis on Friday, so hopefully to see the Hoosiers go 2 for 2 on the hardwood and on the gridiron.
Well, are the Hoosiers playing a quad 1 or quad 2 game? They hadn't played one yet this year. They're right there with our friends from Bayou Country, LSU, and in Indiana, both top 20 teams in the net some kind of way without playing a quad 1 or quad 2 game.
Well, they're going to get a quad 1 on Saturday because they're getting those Cardinals from Louisville coming up I-65 on Saturday morning, early afternoon. So getting that at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So this is the first big test for Indiana. Of course, they open Big Ten play at Minnesota tonight and then get the Cardinals on Saturday. And, of course, those Buckeyes on Saturday night at Lucas Oil Stadium. So a lot of red will be surrounding Indianapolis on Saturday.
Louisville traveling to Arkansas, so ACC, SEC challenge, and we talked about the improved ACC, and, well, the SEC could only go down with 14 teams in a tournament last year. But, Charlie, 6-3 ACC last night. Now, 7 games remain. I'm sorry. 7 games remain, and so in 6 of the 7, the SEC is favored. That's the only one. Louisville is favored on the road in Fayetteville against Arkansas. But I'm just getting Charlie excited because, Max is a season ticket holder for LSU basketball, and their NET is up to 16. Have not played a quad 1 or quad 2 game, just ahead of number 17. Tell me if they're better than it. Houston? You think LSU's better than Houston?
I do not.
Kentucky?
No.
Kansas?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, Tennessee? That's the 4 they're ahead of.
I'm anxious to watch tonight. Okay, this is their first true road game. I'm anxious to watch. I want to see.
Yeah. So
at Boston College.
Wes, is there? I think the game means more to Indiana on Saturday night for the conference championship game than Ohio State. If there's a letdown factor for a team that's, a conference championship game, a lot has been discussed about the future of these games, if it's sustainable. But Indiana's got to be excited as hell. You going from Las Vegas to Indianapolis to check out the game. But also, Ohio State finally beat their rival, and they didn't even play in this game last year and won the national title. Your thoughts on maybe a little bit of emotional edge for the Hoosiers?
Yeah, I think there very well could be a letdown, but I think it's more of an emotional edge for Indiana because this game, as much championship games are meaning less and less, like you mentioned, just the way the playoff system is set up. This means everything to Indiana. It certainly means a lot to me as a fan because I've never seen this team win a Big Ten football title in my lifetime. 1967 was the last time that they did it. And I also remember being an undergraduate student at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, when Ohio State came in undefeated in 1996 and hadn't made the Rose Bowl in 12 years. And Indiana led. They were a 2-8 Hoosier team that led going into the quarter, and then it all fell apart. And I remember them Buckeyes storming the field at Memorial Stadium to rip down one of our goalposts, where our football team had to defend the other one, because they would have taken both of them down, in their celebration. So that's pretty humiliating when you get your goalposts ripped down in your old stadium. But that shows you how far Indiana has come. And I think that this is going to mean everything to them. And this is a way for Indiana to eliminate all the doubters, too. They eliminated some of them with the win at Oregon. But you beat Ohio State, then all of a sudden everybody has to acknowledge that Indiana is here to stay as a really top-end college football program.
Well, they locked down their coach. He's in the new era of roster building. He is just fine. I think that's safe. And he's gotten a lot of people fired, getting his team to the playoff in 1 year. So there is no patience anymore when you cite Indiana. So nonetheless, your outside perspective on the drama-filled Lane Kiffin hiring at LSU.
Yeah, you mentioned it leading in there, Jimmy. Kurt Cignetti's totally changed the paradigm, I think, all in college football, because now everybody's trying to find their next Cignetti. Did Auburn find it with Scholes? Did Arkansas find it with Silverfield? Did all these other coaches, find their Kurt Cignetti? And that's what everybody's looking for. And the LSU thing, I just think, is a different level. And look, LSU had an opening, and Lane was their guy. And they ponied up to get him. So I don't think LSU did anything wrong here. It was it's tough probably for some of the Ole Miss fans to have a historical season and then have this drama take place. But that's what you get with Lane. You're going to get your fair share of drama. I don't care where he's been, whether it's been Tennessee or USC or the Raiders and now Ole Miss and now potentially at LSU. But, it was just, it was a very bizarre situation, just kind of how this all went down and who's getting on the plane with him, and now who's coming back to coach in the playoffs. So it's been kind of fun to watch, at least from an outside perspective.
You hear my boy Wes, Charlie? I mean, I can understand. Look, if Signetti did the same thing, you would be going crazy.
Absolutely.
Yes. Right. And rightfully
so. I can't imagine how Ole Miss feels, because it's like, if Sig all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I'm going to Penn State. Oh, God, we'd be devastated. So I totally understand how the Ole Miss folks feel. Now, I know you guys aren't going to take sympathy on a rival necessarily, but, I understand, and we'll see how that materializes for Ole Miss, too. Is that going to be a motivational thing throughout the playoff where maybe they're a little bit of a sleeper team and they're playing for a bigger purpose now, now that Lane bolted to go somewhere else, that they're, going to have that little extra motivation. So we shall see when the playoff seedings come out.
Well, what about Bob Chesney? If you talk about looking for the next Signetti, UCLA, do you think that Bob Chesney would have gotten the job at UCLA from James Madison, but for the Signetti success?
Maybe not, Charlie, but I think he sold himself short. I think there were better jobs along the way that I think he was a candidate or should have been suited for. But no, of course, Signetti coming out the same. Of course, it helps. It helps his stock. I would agree. I would agree with that. And Wes, I think that Ole Miss got a great. They got a little double dose of good news in the last 24, 36 hours. Now listen. I think it's. Charlie Weiss Jr. has signed his contract at LSU, right, Charlie? But they're still allowing him to go back. But they need a play caller. Joe Judge has never called plays before. But they also need an offensive line coach as well. But still, them moving up, you'd rather play Alabama or Notre Dame or Virginia, North Texas, Tulane, or James Madison. They got a big
the second thing.
Yeah. That was big. Now, will Alabama jump them if they win?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
So that would slide them back down to where they'd be hosting maybe Notre Dame. So that would hurt. Wes, you looked at any college basketball tonight? Another great last night's schedule was great.
It was, and hopefully we get more of the same tonight. But I was looking around. Of course, we do have some Big Ten openers, by the way, as well tonight. We're starting the college season on December 3rd. How absurd that is. Everybody's talking about the college football calendar, right? We've been hearing, the calendar's so bad. Well, how about this, having to play a conference game on December 3rd? I do lean a little bit Indiana on the road tonight at Minnesota. I don't think Indiana's going to be looking ahead here. I've been, somewhat impressed. They had a couple games against lesser opponents where maybe they weren't their best, but Indiana, it's just a different breed to see them actually move the ball and get good shots and play modern-day basketball. So they're going up to the Barn tonight. Would lean a little bit favorite and over, -9 and then over 143.5. So that's certainly something I'm looking at. In terms of the challenge, I'd be looking Virginia, Texas under. And I know Virginia's not playing that glacial pace that they used to play under Tony Bennett. They got Ryan Odom there now. But I think this is going to be a defensive battle. I think both these teams can kind of take away what the other teams want to run. So 153.5 looked a little bit high, even though Virginia's playing faster so far this season.
All right, Wes, who are we looking at in the NFL this week?
Yeah, this is an interesting card this week because now you're getting into Week 14, and the numbers are getting tighter. So you don't see many odds maker mistakes, and I don't think you have one here, even though some people are going to say so. How about the Indianapolis Colts? My Colts, who have lost 3 of 4, going against Jacksonville, who's won their last 3, including 2 on the road, granted against suspect competition with Arizona and Tennessee, but nevertheless their road win. And you've got a Colts team that has not won down there in Duval County since 2014. And now they're road favorites with a quarterback that's got a bad wheel right now. That's kind of those that things that make you go, that was the CNC Music Factory song back in the day. And this is those plays. Like, why are the Colts favorite here? Well, I think that there's a reason. I don't think the odds makers made a mistake. I think a lot of the public's going to be on the dog. I'll be on the favorite. I'll be on the Colts on the money line. I think that they get the W here and kind of stabilize a season that is slowly falling a little bit by the wayside. It looked like they were going to be a runaway to win the AFC South, and now they're anything but, tied with Jacksonville at 8-4. And then another play in the NFL that I do like, it's a big number. I think the public's going to like the dog, but I like the Green Bay Packers laying less than a touchdown against the Bears. Impressive win for the Bears. They did not win with smoke and mirrors at Philadelphia. They were the better team on Black Friday. But now they go to Green Bay. Green Bay's defense has been terrific over the last month and a half. It was very good against the Lions as well, as they kept them at bay. That's going to look like a big number. I think it's big for a reason. I think Green Bay is the better team. I would be shocked if they did not win this by double digits. So Green Bay for me against the Chicago Bears.
All right, Indianapolis and the Packers. 9 conference championship games. 6 of the 9 are rematches. Anything you're on this weekend, Friday, Saturday, conference championship weekend?
Yeah, and interestingly enough, the rematches, it's been about 500 in terms of the Avengers that lost in the regular season playing in the conference championship game. So there's really not any kind of trend edge there. But a couple I'm looking at, I played the over in the ACC title game, 57.5, Duke and Virginia, which is kind of going to get buried against the 800-pound gorilla that's the Big Ten championship in that late Saturday night window. But I think you're going to get a shootout between these two teams, much like you got with SMU and Clemson last year. So I like that game over. And then a couple team totals here, a couple teams that I think are big underdogs that are going to struggle to score where you may not want to lay those numbers. Troy team total under, and I'm seeing some 13.5 against James Madison, who I think they've been through this before with the coach leaving, so I don't think that that's going to affect them at all. They want to finish this off and maybe sneak into the college football playoff, so I don't know how Troy is going to score. BYU is going to score against Texas Tech. I think that defense is so dominant. So under 17.5 team total BYU.
All right, Wes, we're pulling for the Hoosiers for you this weekend, man, Saturday night. Hope you can pull it through, so we will see. So safe travels, buddy. Follow Wes on X at Wes Reynolds 1. Enjoy it, Wes. You deserve it, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
You bet, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, don't forget here at Snow's, again, in addition to our extensive lunch menu that we have available Tuesday through Friday, but also all of these specials are good through the entire week. The honey walnut shrimp, the cedar plank chicken, black pepper beef, and the baked bolognese rigatoni. Sandwiches, an ultimate sourdough patty melt, salads, grilled shrimp, spinach salad, or a grilled chicken Greek salad over here at Snow's Seafood and Steak Airline Highway at Highway 74 in Gonzales.
Live at Snow's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow's Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Snow's, also are brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Part Store, also now in La Rose and Lockport. Looking for unique gifts this holiday season, go to the website, thethibodeaustore.com. Tons of outdoor cooking supplies that you can get. Lots of power tools for Dad. Also, you can get on the website a look at a lot of the outdoor security cameras that are on special right now, the security locks as well. Custom-made Cypress furniture down at the Thibodeau Store. Lots of fishing equipment, tons of pots, crawfish pots, jambalaya pots, big green egg cookers, all available for you. Go to thethibodeaustore.com. You can go in person, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau, Highway 70 in Pierre Part, and again online for all 4 locations at thethibodeaustore.com. So if you're following recruiting today, LouisianaSports.net, Hunt and the guys doing a great job keeping everything updated. Signings with LSU, the committeds that have not yet signed. If you're joining us just now here in this segment, we can tell you that the big news in the last hour is that Richard Anderson, the big defensive lineman from Carr, has signed. That's official. His comments afterwards were, he says, I talked to Coach Kiffin. He kept it real with me. I kept it real with him, and I'm staying home. His teammate Aiden Hall also signing today from Carr. They had a ceremony there where 15 kids signed letters of intent today, those two coming to LSU. We know that Deuce Gerald's a big defensive lineman from Swanee, Georgia, is going to sign at 1:30 our time. Gerald's put that on Twitter in an LSU uniform, so I feel pretty good about that. Haven Finley, the cornerback from Los Angeles, came out today just a little while ago and said he will not sign today with anybody, is waiting for some clarity for the LSU defensive staff. Lamar Brown, LSU continues to meet with him and push hard. Obviously, a little bit of uncertainty with the LSU defensive staff right now playing a part there. And, of course, Frank Wilson's future a little bit uncertain, too. So Lamar Brown, the big defensive lineman who was at the LSU facility on Sunday night when Lane Kiffin got there, remains in talks. When he will sign, we'll see about that. Besides those three, LSU has three other players that are committed but unsigned. Trenton Henderson, the four-star edge from Pensacola. Dylan Purter, the safety from Tuskegee, Alabama. And Bryson Cooley, the offensive lineman from Mississippi. The other story we talked about a little bit earlier today is the possibility of Landon Duckworth, the top 10 national quarterback, who was recruited very heavily by Kiffin and staff at Ole Miss, but opted instead for South Carolina with his commitment, has not yet signed. And there is a lot of buzz that LSU will be able to flip him. LSU obviously looking for quarterbacks, so Landon Duckworth, will keep an eye on him throughout the afternoon. What else did I want to tell you? Two commitments, one to Alabama and one to Georgia, have flipped and signed with Vanderbilt. Now, you heard about Jared Curtis, the five-star quarterback who flipped a few days ago and has signed his letter of intent with Vanderbilt. It's a five-star quarterback that Georgia had, flips to Vanderbilt. Now, he's from Nashville, but still. And then a little while ago, they got a receiver that had been committed to Alabama. This is a three-star named Owen Cabell, also from Nashville, but Vanderbilt flipping commitments from
better capitalize while you can.
They flipping commitments from Georgia and Alabama. We've done a bunch of these. That don't happen very often.
Well, they don't go 10-2 very often either. First time
never.
ever. Yeah, and and they stuck them right where they are. And after they give Tennessee their worst home defeat in how many years, and the head of the committee says, well, they're lacking a quality win. So you figure that out. Update, from U-High. U-High has other players who are signing at their deal today. Was scheduled for 12:30, so they're about 15 minutes in. They do have players that's signing also at Navy, ULL, and Southeastern. That is starting. Lamar Brown is not a part of it today.
Not a part of that ceremony.
Yeah, and so the way you said it, I would flip that in order of importance as far as the defensive staff and Frank Wilson. I would have made it Frank Wilson and the defensive staff as far as, because that's what shook up the family yesterday. It wasn't that Blake Baker might take the job at Tulane. It was that there's some uncertainty about Frank Wilson continuing on staff.
We'll monitor that. It'll be a big deal as we move forward.
But Charlie, when I got the information last night, I thought that Anderson would be, if I had to put a percentage, would still sign. I would put him as a lower percentage than Brown. Brown family's just trying to spend a lot of time with Frank, and so they're just trying to figure some things out right now. They're just kind of thrown off, and there's no reason to kind of rush right now. One thing about guys like Anderson and Brown, prospects like Anderson and Brown, anybody will wait for you.
Yeah, they will. And when they take a look at this calendar, I think one of the things they need to consider is the Andersons and Browns of the world can sign whenever they want with whoever they want. I would be curious to know how many fringe guys, the three-star guys at places that change coaches, had to make either a quick decision or got processed. That's a tough thing when you've been committed for a long time, and then all of a sudden everything changes very quickly. Like imagine you had been committed to Kentucky, just to pick a school, and all of a sudden in the last 48 hours things change dramatically, and maybe you got to change at the same time. Is that fair to a three-star going to Kentucky?
The fringe recruits, it is a brutal process.
Yeah.
And even more so than now, because a lot of times it's non-existent because they're just signing less kids out of high school. In baseball, it's unbelievable. I mean, nobody gets signed. Basketball, I mean, they're just not signing guys. You got to go to a lower level program and try and be productive, and then they'll bring you up when you're ready to play. They're not sitting you on the bench for 2 years and waiting for you to develop.
Because you're not going to sit on the bench for 2 years. If you sit on the bench for 1 year, you're probably leaving.
It's just
certainly for 2.
No, they're just less letters of intent being signed. For a car to have 15 today. It's a massive number.
It's a good school. They produce a lot of athletes.
And they will continue to do so as well. Don't forget my friends over at Workbox and Workbox Services, my buddy Martin Padial, and expanding the operation to expand our coverage. And so, adding Martin Jr., Hannah Brandy, trying to put those together, Chris Brooks. Our new second office of Workbox allows us to reach all the way down to the Gulf Coast, through New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and all the way to Lake Charles. So, and servicing all the areas in between as well. Custom lunch rooms. You want tool storage containers for job sites. Again, custom safety storage near the plant. Welders, plumbers, you can do custom work sites. Customized, you can put the shelving and lighting and wooden or metal materials, climate control. Customize it to everything, exactly what you need or you prefer. And for our shipping containers and movable storage needs, commercial or residentials. Again, give our friends at Workbox a call, 343-4886, and WorkboxLLC.com.
Live at Snow's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Got an endorsement for the Penn State job. Ben Roethlisberger said Mike Tomlin should take the job because the Steelers should move on from him. And James Harrison said the same thing. Roethlisberger said, it maybe it's just time. I have a lot of respect, but maybe it's best for him too. Harrison was a lot more vocal. He says he played 10 seasons in Pittsburgh. He says, I never thought Coach Tomlin was a great coach. James Harrison. Wow. Okay.
Wow. We've always discussed and debated. You cannot. His consistency is unbelievable, but I've always thought he's lacked a little bit. But he's probably in the Hall of Fame. And one thing is for sure: if he is fired, and I do think it's time for a change, he will have a job within the week.
Yeah, 19 seasons with Pittsburgh. Thanks to the folks here at Snows for being our host today. Tomorrow we're at the original Walk-Ons. Stay tuned to Hunt Palmer signing day stuff here on 104.